Once the angel was caught in his poison skill, the hero just stared at her and started laughing. He knew she was stuck, there was no way she was breaking out of this one. He really believed his poison was on a whole different level, something only someone like him could pull off. In his mind, she was just pretending to be a god, and there was no chance she could get rid of what he'd thrown at her. After hearing what the hero said and scrambling to get away from the nasty gas, the angel totally lost it. You could see how mad she was just by looking at her face. Her veins were popping and she looked like she was about to snap. She was so done with the hero's attitude, and she went right for her sword, ready to bring down some serious payback. She needed out of the poison gas fast, so she pulled out her sword of judgment and just started swinging like crazy. Her blade cut through the air, slicing up the toxic clouds around her, and the gas started to clear. After keeping it up for a bit, she finally caught her breath and got herself under control. She kept swinging her sword, and his skeleton warriors just started dropping one after the other. He kept getting hit with non-stop alerts showing who got taken out. First, he saw that 25 skeleton berserkers were gone, then 16 skeleton archers, and after that 10 skeleton mages got wiped too. From a distance, he watched everything go down. Without missing a beat, he called in even more skeleton warriors. He wasn't stressed at all. He knew he could just bring his undead army back whenever he wanted. The poison gas was starting to wear off, so the hero didn't waste any time. He told the Lick General to fire it up again. The Lick General lifted his staff, and just like that, the poisonous mist spread back out over the place. Poisonous gas closed in around the skeleton warriors, and right then the toxic mist rolled back, covering the whole battlefield again. The skeleton warriors, now powered up with some toxic energy, went straight for the angel and hit him with poison attacks. Every hit landed right on the angel, one after another. She got stuck in that toxic gas again, getting hammered by attacks from every side. The poison started messing her up, draining her strength fast. She got frustrated as she realized just how much the poison was messing with her powers. The angel was clearly hurting, but the hero didn't slow down for a second. He pushed forward, looking dead serious. He knew this fake god wasn't going down easy and that the poison would need time to work, so he stayed alert, making sure nothing could mess up the plan. He kept moving fast, but out of nowhere he froze and started planning his next move, eyes sharp. The skeleton's toxic energy was spreading everywhere, covering like 5 kilometers around him. He honestly didn't think the god of poison's blood would be this op. Right then, the whole spot where the angel was stuck got filled up with poison gas. In the middle of that thick toxic cloud, the angel was struggling hard, barely able to breathe and clearly hurting. A little while later, he got a ping. Turns out the Holy Spirit angel didn't make it. She fought hard, but the poison took her out in the end. With her gone, he suddenly leveled up big time, racking up 90 million experience points just like that. Right after that, the scene jumped straight to the human world, right in the middle of the Holy Church of the Divine Order. There was this statue of an angel up front, with a bunch of people gathered around it, all looking pretty focused. Everyone just looked up, locked onto the sky, when this weird green gas started pouring out from above. It looked exactly like the poison gas the hero uses, so no one knew what was going on. They just froze, trying to figure out what was happening. Out of nowhere, the green light blasted the angel's statue, and everyone watched as it broke apart right there. Everyone in the room just lost it. People started freaking out, not sure what was happening. Some were staring at the fallen statue, totally confused, while others were already thinking about who to tell, eyes darting around for someone in charge. One guy was quick to rush off, clearly set on finding the bishop to let him know what just went down. The green glow that just settled over the angel statue was actually the same toxic gas the hero dropped in the lower realm to take out the angel. After that, things switched back to the main guy. He called all his skeletons back into his inventory, and as the urge to fight started to chill out inside him, he just relaxed on the stone. For once, it felt good knowing he'd finally handled all those annoying enemies. He knocked out every challenge that came his way and kept pushing ahead, but now he was staring out at this endless ocean, couldn't spot land anywhere. Lightning tornadoes were tearing up the air all around him, wild and nonstop. Even with all that chaos, he kept moving forward, not backing down for a second. He kept moving through the storm for what felt like forever, 2 straight hours nonstop. Eventually, he spotted this faint light way out in front, kind of like a glowing island just chilling in the dark. Looking at it, he figured that had to be the Wind and Thunder continent. He moved ahead at his own pace, not rushing, and before he knew it, he was in the Wind and Thunder continent. Before he showed up, he pulled out his scroll to double-check where he was headed. As he walked, he checked out the map and figured he was just a few hours away from Wind Thunder Canyon. He couldn't help but wonder what he'd run into when he finally got there. After that, things switched straight to the abyss. The succubus queen was chilling on her throne, looking totally in control. One of her servants was down on one knee in front of her, showing major respect while he passed on some big news. He greeted her first, then, kind of nervous, let her know that just showed up in the lower zone. As soon as she heard that, the succubus queen's face went serious. She started thinking hard, realizing that even though he was only level 52, he still managed to get into the lower layers. It clicked for her, some ancient survivor from way back probably helped him out. She smirked, thinking things were about to get interesting. So he'd teamed up with that person. That definitely threw a wrench in her plans. But with heading down into the lower space by himself, it looked like the Abyss crew finally had the perfect shot to take him out. Was the one who showed up with the news before her. The second she heard what the queen said, seriously freaked out. She couldn't believe the queen was actually about to go after The queen gave a small head tilt, her eyes showing she was definitely up to something. She couldn't get how that was possible since the mark on him hadn't gone anywhere. Nodded fast, confirming the mark was still there. When the queen heard the news, she couldn't help but grin. She wanted someone to go let King know that just showed up in the lower space. Since took out the king's kid, there's no way the king's just going to let that slide. While she talked, she ran her tongue over her lips in this smooth, almost teasing way, her eyes lighting up with this wild energy. She knew they had to listen to the demon emperor, but when it was about risking lives, she was all for letting someone else get thrown under the bus. After that, the focus snapped back to the main guy. He just pulled up to a new spot, a full-on battlefield. Everything around him was wild and out of control. Huge dragon warships were flying overhead, dropping attacks while chaos broke out on the ground. When he glanced up and saw those massive ships cruising through the clouds, he couldn't help but stare. He instantly recognized them for what they were, dragon warships. Right away, every warship zeroed in on him and opened fire, blasting out cannon shots non-stop. Bright energy blasts tore through the sky, lighting everything up. He noticed the attack coming fast and moved quick, dodging out of the way just in time. The explosion slammed into the ground right where he'd been, making the whole place rumble. He dodged the hit and glanced up. Above him, there were tons of dragon warriors just floating there, all watching him. Their eyes lit up bright red, looking straight up creepy, and the way they moved just didn't look right, almost like robots glitching out. Something felt off. He could tell just by the way the dragon warriors moved it wasn't normal. As he watched closer, he spotted these thin red energy threads, almost like invisible wires running from their bodies. It hit him that they weren't really fighting on their own. Someone else was pulling the strings, literally making them move like puppets. Before he could react, the dragon warriors went wild and rushed straight at him. All of them showed up holding these huge dragon spears, looking like they meant business. They used to be regular dragon soldiers, but now they just followed orders like machines. Every single one of them sat at level 70, rocking 200,000 strength, 120,000 agility, 10,000 spirit, and 150,000 constitution. Their main move, Whirlwind Sweep, could wipe out squads in seconds, and they barely even flinched at curse attacks. They charged in hard, not holding back at all. Right then, our hero called up his skeleton crew, and they jumped in to block the hits, throwing down with the dragon fighters. From far back, he watched as the fight got out of hand. The battlefield was packed, and he couldn't help but think something was off. It really looked like the dragon clan had cooked up some new tech, cranking out these war puppets like they were nothing. Seeing all those level 70 warriors rolling out like factory products, he locked in. If this kept up, he knew humanity could be in real trouble down the line. The skeleton warriors kept pushing forward, taking down the dragon warriors without slowing down. The dragon guys were basically just puppets, dropping left and right as the skeletons moved in. Once a ton of them were wiped out, the hero signaled his army to clean up the rest before making their next move. Puppet bodies started dropping out of the sky, hitting the ground all around. He lifted his hand, pointed at the mess of bodies falling near the dragon warships, and just triggered a huge corpse explosion. The moment he turned it on, everything around him blew up hard. Any dragon warriors nearby got wiped out, and a bunch of warships went down in the huge blast. The blast was insane. Everything close by just got wiped out, no chance. The dragon warriors who were still chilling on the far-off ship saw how bad it was and totally freaked. They didn't waste a second, turned around and booked it as fast as they could. With just one blow, a bunch of enemy warships and dragon warriors got taken out. The whole place turned messy with everyone scrambling to get away. Watching all the chaos, the hero just smirked and shook his head. He knew there was no point chasing after them, their ships were way too fast. He decided to head out to Burial Thunder Canyon first and grab whatever the ancient earth dragon Shangla wanted. After that, he planned to swing back later and figure out what was actually happening. The story switched up and suddenly showed up, stepping out from a portal. She pointed off in one direction, totally sure of herself. She could tell was somewhere that way. Right after stepped out of the portal, a bunch of monsters started pouring out behind her. These weren't just any monsters, they were the top squad working for the Black Heaven demon. Now every single one of them was there, just standing still, all eyes locked on. One of the monsters, looking kind of serious, pointed out how the demon lord was being extra careful, sending their top squad just to take out a level 52 human. It seemed like a bit much. When heard that, she frowned, her whole face tightening up as she started thinking hard. In her head, she knew these guys were clueless. They had no idea just how tough that kid actually was. The monster who'd been grilling her stepped in, getting right up close and wanting to know just how far they were from the kid. This guy was the boss of this top-tier squad, and their whole mission was to take out our hero. Almost laughed at how bold he was, but she pulled herself together fast. She knew what she was doing and stayed cool. She'd already checked the map and was sure they could cut him off before he hit Burial Thunder Canyon. She shot him a confident look and kept talking, her voice smooth and relaxed. Everyone back home was straight up waiting to hear what he had to say. While was talking, she turned on her charm power right at. Instantly he got locked in, eyes only on her, totally caught up like he couldn't look away. The way she drew him in just hit different, he was straight up mesmerized. The story flips back to our guy, sprinting down the path like he's on a mission. He's thinking about how he hasn't seen any monsters around, wondering if those dragons already took them all out. He kept moving forward when a smell hit him out of nowhere. It was weirdly familiar, like something he couldn't forget. Instantly he realized, yeah, that's definitely the scent of a succubus. Right then showed up in front of him. She spotted and just started laughing, clearly recognizing him after not seeing him for ages. As soon as he spotted her, he sized her up, wondering if she was actually ready to face him this time or if she'd just fold like before. Couldn't help but laugh when she heard what he said. After that, she switched it up and spoke more respectfully, tossing out an idea. She said the Demon Lord sent her to give General a message, mentioning that she really looks up to him. If he said yes, he'd basically be the Demon Lord's main partner. That meant every one of the Demon Lord's followers would have to listen to him, no questions asked. Even the one talking to him would be under his control. When he heard the offer, the guy just looked annoyed, rubbing the back of his neck like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. He stared at everyone around him, clearly grossed out, like just being there was making him sick. As soon as caught what the hero said, she got heated. Her jaw clenched and she shot him a cold look, basically saying that if he refused the toast, he'd have to deal with the consequences. Deep down, she was already plotting her next move, ready for payback when he finally slipped up. Right then, every monster aiming to take out the hero rushed in, stacking up behind like they were ready to go all out. Who didn't waste any time. He moved up in front of, glaring straight at the hero, jaw clenched tight. To him, there was no point in talking it out. The hero was just some level 52 kid, nothing special, who was already thinking about taking him down fast and dragging him back as demon hound food. As soon as finished talking, tossed a charm his way, showing she was all in with him. When said that's whole vibe changed, his face lit up and he looked hyped. He pulled out his weapon, clearly pumped, and was ready to go after the human, acting like he'd just won the lottery. Monsters crowded in on the hero, closing off every escape. Behind them all, pulled out the abyss sealing stone and smashed it without hesitating. As soon as the stone snapped, this weird dark energy just started spreading everywhere, covering the whole place. Looked over at him, throwing a smug look his way, clearly ready to start some trouble. This stone was built to shut down human summoners completely. With the barrier up, only someone on a god tier could even try to summon anything. Everyone else was just out of luck. She was clearly feeling herself, kind of laughing at the idea that anyone could get around it. The second that barrier started closing in, he could feel his anger building. It was just another annoying obstacle, but he wasn't about to get caught slipping. Without hesitating, he triggered his skeleton armor. As it powered up around him, he felt that quiet buzz of confidence, even though deep down he knew he wasn't as strong as he used to be. He barely had time to think before rushed him, weapon up and ready to swing. The hit landed straight on his skeleton armor, making it crack a bit. When he spotted the fissures in their armor, our hero instantly got focused. He realized this dude was on the same level as some boss from a lower dimension. The abyss wasn't playing around this time, they really wanted him gone. He didn't waste a second, just hit bone prison right away. Bone chains flew out super fast and wrapped up tight, locking him down. Even the monsters right behind got caught, stuck in the grip of those bones. The monster freaked out when he saw what was happening, yelling about some curse. Right then, a heavy attack came flying at. He snapped into focus, realizing those things coming at him were actually dead skeletons. Stood back, kind of frozen. Her eyes got huge. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Even with the ceiling in the way, she couldn't look away. The hero brought in a whole squad of skeletons, filling up the place fast. Saw what was happening and started freaking out, wondering how he was just ignoring the sealing stone from the Demon Lord. She couldn't believe it. Was this really possible? He's already got that god tier presence. It's wild because when they first crossed paths, he was nothing special, just another weak dude. Now somehow he's leveled up way faster than anyone expected. Seeing all those monsters stuck inside the bone prison, she got nervous. She figured if she couldn't take down in the next 30 seconds, she'd have to dip. At the same time, wasn't about to stick around and get wrecked by the hero's next move. He instantly popped this skill called Body Protective Flame, using it to shield himself. As soon as the skill kicked in, fire just locked onto him, swirling all around. Any attack that came his way got burned up before it could even get close. Saw his chance and got back into position, ready to throw hands. The flames tore through the bone prison, setting him free. He grabbed his weapon, looking fired up and ready to go, determined to end this fight right here. When saw the bone prison and the whole skeleton army, he totally lost it. He didn't waste any time. He just dropped his Body Protective Flame skill right away, burning the entire bone cage to nothing. No pause, no hesitation. As soon as he was free, he grabbed his weapon and charged straight at the hero, ready to go all in. Purple energy started pulsing off him, that same protective flame giving him a serious power boost. He got close, swung his weapon hard, but the hero was quick on his feet and dodged before it could land. Seeing the spear in its grip, he got serious real quick. Another demon showing up with a long spear, just like the ones he faced before in the upper realms. He remembered how tough that race was, their strength always stood out. He kept looking around, thinking hard. Thunder Gorge was just up ahead, and honestly, he had no clue what was waiting for him inside. He decided to hold off on using his strongest move, saving it for when things really went south. Without that power, there was no way he could take the guy out in one shot. He made up his mind to take it slow and wear them down bit by bit. Without wasting any time, he unleashed Toxic Starburst, setting off a poison blast that spread everywhere. Poisonous gas started lighting up the whole area, and before anyone knew it, the gas was creeping out and covering everything around. Watched as the poison attack came at the hero. He tried to dodge, but he started to get mad and kind of tense. He realized right away that this was straight-up poison, and there was so much of it that smaller monsters wouldn't stand a chance. It could just melt them away. Right then, the Lick General stepped up and lifted his weapon, ready to follow orders. As soon as the hero gave the signal, he activated his poisonous halo move, making the air even thicker with toxins. The second he used that skill, the skeleton army leveled up fast. They started leaking some nasty toxic gas, and it was obvious they were ready to go off with poison attacks. Right after, every skeleton just launched straight at the monsters, all charged up. As they moved in, they started taking out the monsters, one after another. The things that were stomping them earlier got slow and weak once the poison gas kicked in. The skeleton army just went off, swinging their huge swords and taking out the monsters without holding back. It was a straight-up massacre. Monsters were getting sliced up everywhere, dropping fast like veggies getting chopped, and the whole place was filled with their screams as they got wiped out. From far off, saw everything go down. She was straight-up scared and had no clue what to think. Her hands shook as she tried to process it all. How could things turn out like this? The Black Sky Demon King's top squad was getting wrecked by, who now totally owned the fight. The toxic gas started messing up all the monsters around and was getting hit too. His strength was dropping off and green stuff began leaking from his eyes and nose, showing just how much the gas was wearing him down. Seeing it take over his body, got mad and let out a rough growl. The poison kept messing him up, draining his strength non-stop. He knew if it kept going like this, he was done for. No matter what tried, he just couldn't shake off the poison the hero hit him with. He started getting really mad, and it hit him that if he didn't figure something out fast, it was game over. He was out of options, so he just snapped and yelled for the demon ancestor. As soon as did that, this wild dark purple energy, almost like lightning, shot out from him. When the other monsters noticed what was happening in the toxic gas, they didn't stick around. They pushed their way out fast and backed off to a safer spot, not wanting to get caught up in that mess. They started getting ready for the demon summoning. That weird dark purple energy started coming off their bodies too, just like what was pouring out of. All that power blasted up into the sky, coming together and opening up a huge portal. Threw in everything he had, not holding back at all. The monsters just froze, eyes glued to the portal, totally locked in on whatever was about to show up. Stood back just watching everything go down. She honestly couldn't believe what she was seeing, actually called out the phantom of a top-tier demon ancestor. Now it made sense why the Black Sky Demon King sent his best crew after. During the demon rituals, something wild started happening too. Out of nowhere, a massive shadowy figure popped up behind him. It looked just like, only way more intense, like some sort of dark bodyguard. This thing, every move he made, almost like it was synced up with him. When lifted his weapon and aimed it at the hero, the giant demon version did the exact same thing, both locked in and ready to go after the hero. When another summoned creature popped up in front of him, he just frowned, totally unimpressed. He thought to himself, not this again. But checking out the vibe it gave off, he knew this demon wasn't any stronger than that angel saint he'd faced earlier. Looked like it was finally time for him to pull out his secret move, so he just went ahead and turned on his strong soldier ability. Saw what was happening and just started cracking up. He looked super confident, almost cocky, because he knew the ancestor's power had everyone's energy locked in together. With that kind of backup, he felt untouchable. Nobody could even land a hit on him. On the other side, the hero kicked in his strong soldier power. He lifted his hand toward the demon's projection, barely smiling, totally chill about it. In that split second, he turned on his soul flame, ready to handle whatever was coming. The second the soul flame lit up, it launched straight at and slammed right into the demon's projection almost instantly. The whole thing started shaking like crazy and let out this scary screech. Since all the monsters nearby had tossed their energy in to build that projection, they were still tied to it. So when the soul flame hit, every single monster felt it at the exact same time. Got completely caught up in the attack, but things escalated fast. The hero went all in, turning on soul flame for every monster around. In seconds, every single monster was wiped out by that crazy fire. The whole place echoed with their screams as they couldn't handle the pain. It was rough, non-stop yelling for help, begging for it to end. Every monster in the area got hit by the hero's soul flame, and they were just losing it, screaming like crazy from the pain. Their screams bounced around the whole battlefield, and the pain was so bad that the demon ancestor's projections started fading out. The hero just watched, not even fazed, and he couldn't help but laugh a little. He realized the projection was tied to their souls, and honestly, this just made things way easier for him. He didn't wait around, he just told his undead to wipe out every monster in sight. As soon as the skeleton warriors got the order, their eyes lit up with this wild, fiery glow. Thanks to their boosted soldier skills, they looked way stronger than before. Even with those empty skulls, you could tell they were fired up and ready to go all out against the monsters. was right there staring at his friends getting roasted by these wild, painful flames. He didn't waste a second, he called out, telling everyone to pull their spirits back from the ancestor and throw up some kind of protective fire. He didn't even get the chance to wrap things up. Out of nowhere, a skeleton warrior hit him straight on with a heavy attack. The impact was so strong it felt like the whole battlefield just shook. Got rocked by how strong that hit was. His eyes went wide, he couldn't believe it. He just couldn't figure out how those skeletons leveled up so hard out of nowhere. Was hanging back just watching how things were going down from afar. When she saw what happened, she got spooked and took a step back, her face losing all its color. She could tell things weren't looking good, and at that point she was sure who was about to take the... She stopped mid-sentence when her eyes suddenly went wide. She could tell something really bad was about to go down. The whole vibe in the air felt way too intense. Was he actually about to pull that off? Right then's face went wild, eyes locked on the hero. He was dead serious, no joking around. Knew he had to pull out his last move like it was the only shot left. He knew this move could mess things up big time, but honestly it was way better than getting wiped out. So he just looked straight up at the sky, ready to give everything he had to the Demon King, no holding back. He didn't even pause, he just shoved his weapon right into his stomach. Blood hit the ground while he started yelling, his voice going wild. He called out to his demon lord, offering up his own blood, trying to bring down the Black Sky Demon King. When started it off, the rest of the monsters didn't hesitate, they all him. Each one drove their weapon into themselves, all moving together like they'd practiced this. As their blades went in, this dark red stuff started floating up from the wounds, rising straight into the sky. The clouds overhead started spinning like crazy, getting way darker, and the wind picked up big time. That weird energy up there got even sketchier, pulling together into this huge, scary portal. From far away, saw what was going down and totally freaked out. She realized they were really calling up a piece of the Black Sky Demon King, and in her head she knew was done for. His face went blank, and as the Demon King's energy started to take over the battlefield, his chest tightened. He knew the Demon King's power couldn't be allowed to drop down into the lower world. If it did, he was basically done for. He didn't waste any time, he grabbed the Poison God's blood essence from his stash and locked his eyes on the portal as it kept getting bigger. His brain was running wild, thinking if blowing up the blood essence doesn't do the job, he'd have to go all in and use the Poison God's corpse for a full-on corpse explosion. Totally taken over by the ritual, lost it. He started laughing like he was out of his mind, yelling that the human was done for and there was no way anyone could help now. Right then, two massive hands started to come out of the swirling portal. The whole vibe changed, the air felt way heavier, almost like something really bad was about to go down. Even the space around them looked warped, like reality itself was glitching out. Those hands started crawling out from the void, and just like that, everything around got covered in total darkness. In the middle of it all, the hero still held onto the Poison God's blood essence, its green glow barely shining, like it was the only thing left fighting back against the deep black. Dark energy covered everything, swallowing up the area. From the portal, the clone of the Demon King, called the Dark Lord, started stepping out. Even though it wasn't the real Demon King, just this clone showing up made the whole place go pitch black. When the hero spotted the Dark Lord's clone, he froze up. He knew right then he didn't have what it took to go up against this guy. He didn't waste any time. He grabbed the Poison God's blood essence from his stash and sent it straight at the portal. That portal was where all the dark energy and the clone were coming out. As the Poison God's blood got close, it unleashed a thick cloud of toxic gas covering the portal from every angle. In seconds, the dark energy got swallowed up by the swirling green poison. Two hands reached out from the portal. These were the hands of the Demon King, Dark Lord. But right away, his hands started to melt and you could tell something was seriously wrong. The pain got to him fast, and for the first time the Dark Lord wasn't so sure of himself. He winced, not expecting whatever was on the other side to mess him up like this. After a few seconds he figured out what was going on. He realized it was poison. Once the whole place was covered, the poison gas started to glow, lighting up everything around him until the entire area was filled with that blinding light. The poison leaked into the portal, messing it up from the inside. Every monster that helped summon the Dark Lord got hit by it too. They couldn't handle it at all. The pain was brutal, way more than they expected. From a spot a little ways off, the hero watched everything go down. He cracked a smile, realizing the Dark Lord wasn't actually on the same level as the Poison God. The hands that were reaching out from the portal just froze, leaving only the portal itself. The Demon King's clone, the Dark Lord, wasn't crawling out anymore. Whatever limbs had already made it through started melting and dropping to the floor. The poison gas was still going strong, so every piece that hit the ground just kept melting, and any monster it touched started breaking down too. Monsters around the place were twisting and screaming as the poison wrecked them, and the whole area echoed with their pain. Got caught up in the hero's poison gas too. When he noticed the Dark Lord wasn't coming out of the portal anymore, he kind of freaked out. He couldn't figure out what was going on or why the Demon King still hadn't shown up. He watched his own body start to disappear, panic taking over as he realized the poison was actually eating him away. The sight hit him hard. He couldn't believe something could be that deadly, and now his body was literally breaking down right in front of him. The ice was disappearing fast, stared at, stretching his hand out to her and hoping she'd help him out. He was calling her, clearly wanting her to save him. From a distance, couldn't believe what she was seeing. She was scared stiff, sweat rolling down her face as her eyes went wide. She started shaking, thinking to herself how even the Dark Lord's arrival never looked this scary. She'd never seen anything like his power. She didn't waste a second. She grabbed her teleportation stone and snapped it, knowing she had to dip fast or she'd be done for. The moment she snapped the teleportation stone, she disappeared on the spot, gone in an instant. After she broke out and the rest of the monsters got wiped out, the seal holding back the hero's summons just started falling apart, breaking down for good. Everything around him went still. He'd just taken down the Dark Lord's clone and wiped out all the monsters that showed up looking for trouble. Right after, a notification popped up letting him know he'd finished off the clone and scored 90 million XP. A bright light dropped onto him and he got another message. His military badge was now up a rank, *+1. Looking back on everything that just went down, he finally let out a deep breath. It hit him, the one getting summoned was actually the Dark Lord. He remembered he'd taken out the Dark Lord's kid before, and honestly, if the real deal had shown up, he knew he wouldn't have made it out alive. Right after that, the scene jumps straight into the Abyss world. There's this massive palace that pops up, looking pretty unreal. The Dark Lord was still trapped inside, barely holding it together as the poison gas burned through his real body. He watched helplessly as the poison spread and he just lost it, anger boiling over. He couldn't believe this poison was messing him up for real. All he could think about was getting back at for this. There was so much poison coming off his body that the whole palace got filled with toxic gas. Even the monsters inside didn't stand a chance. They dropped to the floor, freaking out and dying in agony. At the same time, our guy was somewhere else when his systems started going off. Out of nowhere, alerts started popping up non-stop, showing monsters dropping one after another. First, it said the level 69 Abyssal Sword was down. Then right after, the level 70 Abyssal Blade got taken out. The notifications kept coming, with 3 or 4 monsters getting wiped out back to back. When he saw what was happening, our hero just froze. He had no idea what was going on. But even while he stood there, he kept racking up experience points every time someone died. He couldn't figure out why. He hadn't done anything yet. Then out of nowhere, it clicked for him. The poison was spreading all through the abyss, and that's where all the points were coming from. Back in the abyss, things got wild fast. Poison gas had spread everywhere, covering the palace and pretty much the whole area. Monsters started dropping, trying to get away, but it was chaos. Some were freaking out, not even sure what was going on or why everyone was running for their lives. Others just wanted to know where all this poison even came from. Poison gas had totally taken over the whole abyss, all thanks to the Demon Lord saw everything he built falling apart and just lost it. He was mad that his kids were gone, his clone got wrecked, and now his main city was toast. All he could think about was getting back at, warning him not to ever get caught slipping. While monsters all over the abyss were dropping left and right, the hero kept flying ahead, glued to his notifications. Every time a monster went down, no matter the level, his phone just kept pinging. With each new alert, he was racking up free XP, and his power kept climbing non-stop, second by second. He'd been on the move for 10 hours straight since that last battle, just grinding up the mountain. When he finally made it to the top, he checked out the view and spotted a lightning bolt crackling way down below. He froze on the spot. Out of nowhere, his lightning wings just started fading, shutting down without him even doing anything. He stared at them, surprised they just powered off by themselves. Guess flying isn't allowed in this place. Right then, he realized he'd made it to Burial Thunder Canyon. The moment he showed up, he snapped on his skeleton armor and checked out everything around him, making sure he didn't miss a thing. He moved forward, taking his time. His eyes scanned everything around him, his face tight, staying ready to jump the second something went down. He kept moving ahead and suddenly spotted a huge lightning bolt. Right in front of it, there was this giant circle made out of lightning, glowing like it was straight out of a video game. He leaned in and spotted a monster chilling right in the middle of the circle. It was the Thunderlight Beast, straight-up boss status, definitely not your average enemy. The monster's stats were wild. Level 75 with strength at 300,000, agility at 350,000, spirit at 250,000, and constitution at 400,000. It had some crazy skills too. Lightning absorption was always on, plus it could pull off Thunderlight Annihilation. It didn't just shrug off lightning, it actually got stronger from it. The thing was massive, with lightning shooting off its body non-stop. Its eyes locked straight onto the hero, and you could tell this was no regular beast. This was a monster, no doubt about it. The second he showed up, our hero didn't waste a second. He called out every skeleton he had, ready to go all in. The Thunderlight Beast totally lost it when it saw the skeletons and charged straight at them. It went after the skeleton warriors up front first, ripping them apart without slowing down. The beast moved insanely fast, wrecking all the skeleton warriors at the same time. He watched the Thunderlight Beast move, realizing it was way too quick to just block. Not wasting any time, he fired off Bone Prison, trying to trap it before things got out of hand. Bone Chains shot out, moving crazy fast, and started wrapping up the Thunderlight Beast. As soon as the Bone Prison locked onto it, everything changed. Spells started flying everywhere and arrows just kept coming non-stop. Skeleton mages were going all out with their magic, while the skeleton archers wouldn't let up, firing arrow after arrow. Every hit landed on the beast at the same time. Stuck inside the bone cage, it had nowhere to go. The non-stop attacks hit hard, and it just dropped to the ground, seriously messed up. Right then, lightning just exploded off its body, shooting straight up into the sky like it was wild. No one could really tell if the beast was letting the energy out, or if it was sucking all that power down from above. Honestly, it looked like both were happening at once. All that lightning started charging up the Thunderlight beast, and suddenly its whole body lit up like a power-up. The bones trapping it couldn't handle the energy and started snapping apart, breaking down as the electricity kept surging. The beast powered up and dropped its Thunder Blast move. It threw its head back, let out a roar so loud and wild that every bone keeping it trapped just snapped apart. Right after that, the Thunderlight beast let loose a lightning blast so bright it lit up the whole place, making it impossible to see anything else. He threw his arm up to block the light, totally caught off guard. As soon as he realized what was happening, he blurted out that it was a self-destruct move. As soon as he showed up in front of the Thunder Beast, it just lunged at him, no questions asked. He didn't waste a second. He called out his skeleton crew and dropped a bone prison right away, trying to lock the Thunder Beast down. With his skeletons locked in, he kept sending them at the creature, not letting up until the Thunder Beast crashed to the ground. But the beast wasn't done yet. It started pulling in all the lightning around, and before long, everyone could see crazy electric energy building up inside it. When he saw what was about to go down, he got a bit scared. It was a full-on self-destruct, and it was happening right beside him. There was zero chance to get out of there. Out of nowhere, the whole place just blew up. The explosion hit so hard that it wiped out everything straight ahead. Some skeleton warriors next to him got wrecked too, just blown apart by the force. Even his skeleton armor, which he thought would hold up, couldn't handle it and got busted, leaving him a bit hurt. After tanking the explosion, he glanced over at the spot where it went off. Honestly, he hadn't thought he'd have to fix up his bone armor 3 times just to survive that self-destruct. The blast was wild. Most level 70 knights probably wouldn't make it through something like that. Everything around the blast site went totally quiet. The air was buzzing with leftover sparks, and as he stared ahead it hit him. If every monster in this canyon was that tough, things were about to get wild. Still, he kept moving, ready for whatever came next. He kept moving forward and soon stepped into a spot that felt like a cave, with a bunch of different tunnels splitting off in front of him. Remembering the directions from Senior Antares, he figured he had to take the path on the right. Thunder Burial Canyon had 9 different forks, and picking the wrong one could get you stuck for good. He knew he had to stay sharp and not mess this up. He kept everything in his head and stepped in further. As he walked, his feet picked up on these weird electric tingles coming from the ground. There was this faint lightning glow spreading across the stone floor, lighting the way as he moved. He kept moving forward, and out of nowhere, lightning started showing up again, just like last time when that Thunder Beast popped up. The bolts looked wild, glowing super bright and throwing off serious energy, almost like the air itself was buzzing. Out of the lightning, 2 Thunder Beasts showed up. One was level 76, the other was level 77. Both were boss-tier monsters. They locked eyes on him, looking ready to go off. He spotted them and instantly got on guard, thinking fast about what to do next. These new Thunder Beasts are way tougher than the last one he fought. He started wondering if it's just because he's deeper in the canyon now. This time there's even one more beast than before, which got him thinking. It might have something to do with how many forks he's already gone through. If that's true, facing the last fork could mean taking on 9 of these things all at once. Still, his soldiers handle them without breaking a sweat. He didn't waste any time. He tossed on his skeleton armor again and called out his squad of skeleton warriors. Just like that, the battle kicked off all over again. Skeleton warriors and Thunder Beasts rushed straight at each other, throwing themselves into the fight without holding back. The clash got intense, and after a bit a huge explosion went off across the battlefield. It was just like what happened when the last Thunder Beast blew itself up after losing. This time, both of the new Thunder Beasts went off together, setting off a wild double explosion. The explosion went off hard, total chaos. Tons of skeleton warriors got wiped out or messed up bad. The hero was standing a bit farther back, so he took the hit but managed to hold it together. It caught him off guard how much crazier the blast got just by adding one more boss. That self-destruct move really stacked up, way more than he expected. Once the blast died down, dust and smoke covered everything. The hero glanced around, not really sure what just happened, kind of worried about what was next. He had a hunch about his undead army, but before he could finish the thought, he just kept moving forward. He kept heading further into the cave, not stopping until he got to the 3rd split. As soon as he stepped in, the lightning energy cranked up, hitting way harder than before. Those same ring-shaped lightning bolts popped up again, blasting out way more electricity than before. This time 3 showed up, coming out all at once. When he saw all 3 together, he got fired up. This was on a whole new level. The fight kicked off again, same as last time. It dragged on for a while, and like before, the Thunder Beast ended up blowing itself up. The explosion took out a bunch of his skeleton warriors, leaving them in pieces. But this round, the blast was so intense that it even broke apart his skeleton armor, leaving him wide open. The hero was looking rough, scratches everywhere, clothes ripped up and some blood on his face. He wiped it off, clearly pissed at how much stronger these self-destruct moves had gotten. If it wasn't for his bone armor, damage transfer, and all his other skills, he knew he'd be done for by now. He started to wonder if anyone could actually make it to the heart of Thunder Burial Canyon and survive. After taking down the monsters at the 3rd fork, he kept going. After a bit, he made it to the 4th split in the road. He stared ahead, tired but locked in, knowing there was no shot at turning back now. Now the story jumps over to the Abyss world, right in the city ruled by the Dark Demon King. The poison the main guy let loose is still hanging around, so the whole place is basically covered in this toxic gas. Everything just froze. The Dark Demon King slumped on his throne, not looking good at all. Nasty toxic smoke kept leaking off him and you could tell he was hurting bad. Someone else showed up in front of him. The king looked at the guy, hoping he could do something about the poison wrecking his body and the city. When heard that, he just shot a smug look, clearly enjoying himself. It was wild to see who usually never asked for anything actually coming to him for help. That got under the Dark Demon King's skin. He was clearly annoyed and just wanted to stop messing around and get straight to the point. Let out this low laugh, then casually reached into his inventory and pulled out a crystal. He tossed it up almost like he was showing off and wanted the Demon King to check it out. Seemed curious. He wanted to see what kind of poison could actually mess up someone as tough as the Haitian Demon King. The moment the crystal floated up, it started sucking up all the poison in the air. After it pulled in a ton, the crystal lit up and started glowing like crazy. His eyes went wide. He totally wasn't expecting that. He pulled the crystal back and checked it out, realizing the poison power inside was way stronger than he thought. Right then the stone lit up and some weird gas started messing with. He chucked the stone fast, realizing things were about to get bad. The poison gas from the stone had already gotten into his hand and messed it up, leaving his hand infected. Didn't even think twice. He just grabbed his infected arm with his good hand and cut it off clean and quick. The arm hit the floor, but right away a brand new hand grew back, stared at the crystal, his face going cold. Deep down, he realized this poison was on another level, even worse than anything he'd ever messed with himself. When he heard that, the Dark Demon King started getting nervous. He leaned in tense, wanting to know if they'd found anything. Didn't back down or get scared. Instead, he actually got hyped and started laughing. He could tell there was something special inside this deadly poison, some kind of law power hiding in there. If he could figure it out, he knew he'd level up for real. The Dark Demon King just froze, totally thrown off. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The toxin actually had some crazy law power mixed in. He started wondering hard, like, how could that kid who's barely level 50 even pull off something this strong? It just didn't add up. Just laughed to himself, noticing the law power was still there, even if it was weak. He wondered when would finally catch that kid and drag him down to the abyss. The kid probably had more gear like this hidden on him. The Demon King's expression got even colder, his whole vibe turning super serious. On the outside, he acted like everything was chill and under control, promising he'd handle things, but in his head he was plotting something way darker. Quietly, he couldn't help but smirk, already thinking about how he'd take the guy out if he ever got the shot. The story moves over to the Succubus Queen's palace. There, kneeling in front of the queen, just wrapping up her report on what went down. The queen listens in, looking serious, then asks her if really took out the Dark Demon King Haitian's clone. Nods, keeping it respectful, and confirms it's true. The Succubus Queen leaned back, thinking hard. She realized that first the Flame Demon King went down and now was out too. That kid had already taken out 2 Demon King clones. At this point, she figured she'd just let it go. There was no point chasing after him. They couldn't take him out. Paused for a second, clearly stressed about what they were supposed to tell Lord Demon Emperor now. The Succubus Queen just grinned, pretty much telling her crew to keep things entertaining and not stress about the rest. She wanted everyone to know showed up in the lower space, figuring a bunch of people would jump at the chance to get involved. After she said that, she started thinking about the main guy, a sly smile showing she had something on her mind. She realized this dude just doesn't go down, and it hit her. They really couldn't risk making him mad. If things went south, her crew would be the ones getting wrecked, not him. She started wondering what he was into, thinking maybe there was still a shot at fixing things between them. The story cuts back to the hero, now standing at the 9th fork in the path. He was in rough shape, his clothes were torched, and scorch marks ran all over him. Before heading deeper, he took a second, looking dead serious. This was it, the last fork. He stared down the cave, totally focused. Last time 9 thunder beasts popped up, but now he couldn't tell if he'd run into them again or if the real boss was about to show up. He took a step forward, and out of nowhere, lightning crashed down right in front of him, blowing up the ground and making everything shake. The blast faded, and out came just one thunder beast, but this wasn't like any of the ones he'd seen before. This thing looked up with stats that were just wild. It was level 80, strength at 300,000, agility over 9,000, spirit at 500,000, and constitution at 10,001. It came stacked with skills like lightning absorption, thunderlight destruction, and tenfold thunderstorm. Plus, it was straight up immune to lightning and could soak up more to make itself even stronger. When he spotted the thunder beast, he just froze, mind totally blank. That thing looked insane, like some final boss you'd only see in crazy games. He grabbed his scythe right away, grinning like he already knew he had this in the bag. In his head, he was thinking that if he took down this thing and pulled its soul, he'd level up big time. Up to this point, he'd faced off against a bunch of thunder beasts, but the one standing in front of him now just looked way tougher than the rest. He zoned in on it, dropping all jokes, his whole vibe shifting. He already knew how these creatures like to fight. He'd studied them enough to pick up their patterns. He knew he had to wrap this up fast. If he took too long, his enemies would just start soaking up lightning to patch themselves up, and things could get real messy if they decided to blow themselves up with thunderlight. Not wasting any time, he called out his whole skeleton squad. The second they showed up, everyone snapped into formation, lined up and ready for action, with the Lick General holding it down next to them. Right after calling them in, he wasted no time and turned on his strongest move. He was locked in, ready to finish things fast. He knew this fight had to be over quick, so he went all out, aiming to wrap it up in under half a minute. The second the strong soldier skill kicked in, all the skeletons powered up like they just leveled up in a game. Their eyes zeroed in on the enemy, totally focused. Then our hero lifted his hand, giving the go-ahead to charge. Every skeleton on the field, from mages to archers to the wild berserkers, locked into their own spots, ready to go. Each one got set, looking like they knew exactly what they had to do. Attacks started coming at the Thunder Beast from every angle, magic blasts hit from one side, arrows tore into it from another, and explosions just kept going off everywhere. Everything was hitting the Thunder Beast at once, like everyone decided to go all in. With all those attacks coming at it, the Thunder Beast wasn't backing down at all. It just lifted its claws, let out a roar that shook the whole place, and fired off this move called Tenfold Thunderstorm. Lightning started hammering the whole place right away. Thunder blasted from above and bolts shot straight out of the beast, lighting up the sky like a crazy storm. Lightning came crashing down right on top of the skeleton warriors, hitting the ground so hard that nothing stood a chance. Wherever it landed, the place just got wiped out, total destruction. The skeletons didn't even have a shot, they broke apart instantly when the lightning touched them. The whole area turned into a wreck, with everything looking totally ruined. The hero got hit by some of the lightning too, and it actually hurt, like he could feel it all through his body. The non-stop thunder and lightning basically turned everything around him into a mess, with dust and rubble flying everywhere. Once everything calmed down, he stood there in the middle of all the wreckage, tiny sparks of lightning still running over him. Checking out the mess from that wild attack, he realized how bad things could have gone. If he wasn't built to tank electric hits, and if his undead crew didn't have their strongest move going, they all would have been wiped out in seconds. He realized right away that even just the tenfold thunderstorm move was already insane. If the other guy pulled out Thunderlight Destruction after this, there's no way he'd be able to handle it. He knew he had to make the first move, and while those thoughts were racing through his mind, he'd already locked in his next play. He didn't waste a second, he fired up Soul Flame and dropped Bone Prison right at the Thunder Beast. He knew the level gap was serious and Bone Prison wouldn't hold it long. Time to pull out his secret move and finish things fast. The bone chains, all lit up with Soul Flame, launched straight at the Thunder Beast, moving quick. Bones wrapped the Thunder Beast up tight, locking down its neck, arms, and legs. The thing went wild, thrashing and trying to bust out, but those skeletons just held on, not letting it go anywhere. Once he locked down the Thunder Beast, the guy didn't waste any time. He just grabbed the Poison God's body straight out of his stash. He brought his scythe in and gave the Poison God a quick hit. It barely left a dent in its body. Green blood started leaking from the wound, and as soon as it showed up, this wild green energy just spread everywhere, messing with everything close by. The blood kept pouring out of the body, and our hero knew right away this was the Poison God's blood essence, his top secret weapon. Now it was all about who could bring the bigger explosion. He snatched up the poison blood and launched it straight at the Thunder Beast, not holding back at all. Toxic green blood blasted out, covering the creature in seconds. A heavy green mist started swirling all around it, swallowing up anything close by. But the Thunder Beast wasn't just some regular monster. Even stuck between the bone cage and all that poison, it kept fighting hard, pushing out lightning to push back against both attacks. The thing tried to fight back, but it didn't stand a chance. In seconds, the poison gas wrapped around it from every side. Deep in that nasty cloud, the only thing anyone could hear was the Thunder Beast going off, its angry growls bouncing all over the valley. From far back, he just watched everything, barely blinking. He stayed chill, just thinking to himself if that thing could blow up and take it out. Even with all that poison choking it out, the Thunder Beast just wouldn't go down. It thrashed around hard, lightning snapping out from its body while it let out painful roars. Cuts started showing up, and blood leaked from its eyes and mouth as its growls turned into straight-up screams. Even after all that, he didn't look happy at all. He kept a serious face, thinking about how the Poison God's blood essence had wiped out the Demon King's clone without breaking a sweat, but now the Thunder Beast was still standing. That hit different. He realized something wasn't adding up. The same thing that crushed the Demon King's clone couldn't even finish off this beast. It finally clicked for him. The Thunder Beast must have something special going on. Out of nowhere, thick bolts of lightning started building up in the clouds over the battlefield. This wasn't the Thunder Beast showing off. This was real, straight-up lightning pulled in by the valley itself, all because of the Thunder Beast's wild energy in the air. Lightning smashed right onto the spot, and the beast didn't waste a second. It dropped its own lightning, syncing it up with the strike, making the whole thing way more intense. The two lightning blasts crashed together, turning into a giant storm of electricity. As the storm raged, the Thunder Beast slowly started to heal up, its injuries fading bit by bit. When he saw what was happening, his eyes snapped open and he got fired up. He realized the enemy was using the lightning to patch itself up. He knew they had to step in fast and shut that down. The second he told his skeleton squad to take down the beast fast, they were all in. Mages, archers, berserkers, every one of them rushed the thunder beast, ready to go all out. As they pushed forward, the lightning that had been building up overhead suddenly came crashing down hard, trying to block their path. Bright flashes slammed into the skeletons, keeping a bunch of them from moving any closer. The hero saw what was happening and couldn't help but laugh. Without all that lightning around, he figured there was no way the other guy could handle the poison god's toxin now. The Lick General didn't waste any time and just turned on this skill called Toxic Aura. Suddenly, green poison energy started spreading everywhere, covering the whole battlefield in seconds. The energy worked like a crazy power-up, making the skeleton warriors way stronger than before. With this boost, they got locked in and rushed right at the beast, ready to go all out. Once they moved in, the skeletons just went off. Each one had its own way of attacking, and all their hits were loaded up with poison. The Thunder Beast kept getting hit by those toxic attacks, each one hurting it and adding even more poison damage on top. Notifications just wouldn't stop showing up in front of him, telling him he was stacking poison damage over and over. With every hit from the skeleton warriors, the pop-ups just kept coming non-stop. The Thunder Beast was basically running on empty after tanking all those hits. It was struggling just to stay upright, shaking hard from the pain. With all that poison eating away at it, the Thunder Beast finally dropped, crashing to the ground. Right then, the hero caught his shot and ordered all the skeleton warriors to attack while the monster was still weak from the poison. He wanted them to end it right there. The skeletons wasted no time. They sprinted straight at the Thunder Beast, boxing it in before it could even get back up. The beast was still thrashing around and making noise, but the skeletons just kept hitting it over and over, not letting up for a second. In just a few seconds, a pop-up showed up for him. Level 80 Thunder Beast was down. Right after, he saw he scored 80 more experience points. The Thunder Beast just laid there, not moving at all. He stared at the boss, lifted his scythe, and just knew this fight was about to get wild. Instead of backing down, he was ready to take control and make the boss fight for him. He pulled off the Summoning of Spirits move and snagged the Thunder Beast's soul into his scythe. The second it worked, he gave a quick nod out of respect, and right away, a notification popped up telling him he nailed it. Just like that, the Thunder Beast showed up in front of him again. The Thunder Beast showed up right in front of him, and he just froze for a second, eyes going wide. This thing wasn't the Thunderlight Beast he'd faced before. Nah, this one was on a whole different level. Way scarier, and it looked nothing like the last one. Right then, a status bar popped up in front of him. The beast that just got summoned, straight up, it was the poisonous Thunder God Beast in its soul form. The stats were wild: level 80 with strength at 800,000, agility at 900,000, spirit sitting at 500,000, and constitution all the way up at 1,000,000. It came packed with some insane skills too: lightning absorption, toxin absorption, lightning blast, poison blast, and 10 direction thunder. As for traits, this thing was totally immune to both lightning and poison, and it could even soak up those elements to get even stronger. After taking down the Thunder Beast, he managed to trap its soul, but as soon as he tried to call up that soul, the Thunder Beast popped up right in front of him again. This time though, the creature looked totally different. It had changed. He saw it and realized it had turned into a poisonous Thunder God Beast, thanks to some god-level venom messing with its blood and making it mutate. Right after that, he pulled its soul straight back into his scythe without wasting any time. Right then, he couldn't help but smile. You could tell he was actually happy about what just happened. Even though things just got a lot tougher, he knew this was a win for him. The new skills were way better, and he already had plans to use them as his secret weapon. He stared straight ahead for a second, then started moving forward, step by step. In his mind, he knew if he made it through this hallway, he'd finally get to where he'd been aiming for. After walking for a bit, he ended up in a new spot. There was this massive crystal sitting there and a few magic circles that looked kind of like someone set up for a ritual. He looked around and knew he finally made it. He spotted a magic circle out of nowhere, and honestly, that caught him off guard. He stepped closer, curious about what was going on, and right as he did, right away the magic circle on the ground lit up. The magic crystal nearby started glowing too and just floated up like it had a mind of its own. All these tiny magic crystals started floating everywhere, giving off this wild purple and lightning vibe. The second they fired up, the crystals just launched straight for him, coming in fast. He was boxed in from every direction, nowhere to run. The second those crystals came flying at him, he didn't even hesitate. He threw on his skeleton armor right away. The crystals slammed into him hard. Right after that, a weird notification popped up saying his electric immunity just went up by 1%. More notifications started showing up, some saying his electric powers were now active, others mentioning his electric limit just got bumped up. These messages just kept coming non-stop, and he honestly didn't see that coming. The lightning from the magic crystals broke right through his skeleton armor, and electricity started running all over his body. When he saw what happened, he was stunned for a second. Those lightning strikes went straight through his skeleton armor, but weirdly enough, he didn't feel any pain at all. Then he noticed something different about himself. Clearing Thunder Canyon actually leveled him up. Now his electric resistance was at 90%. He didn't waste a second, just walked straight over to the magic circle and stood on it. He glanced around, showing off the orb that Antares had asked for, making sure everyone saw he had it. He quickly grabbed the dragon blood from his bag, the exact stuff the dragon had handed over earlier. The moment he pulled it out, he chucked it straight at the magic crystal. The dragon blood zoomed through the air and slammed right into the crystal sitting above the magic circle. As soon as it made contact, the crystal started melting away. Once it was gone, a small glowing orb popped out from inside. He darted forward, snatched it up, and just took a second to take it in. The little orb in his hand was glowing like crazy. Right then, the dragon's voice popped off in his head, calling him out and asking if he'd grab the dragon pearl. Hearing it, he got caught off guard for a second. Right then, this crazy bright light from the dragon pearl just wrapped him up. The dragon already knew he had the pearl, so it let him know it was time to go. All he had to do was fire up the teleport thing on the dragon pearl, and he'd get sent straight back up to the upper space. After hearing that, he realized he still had stuff to handle down in the lower area, so he decided to take care of it first before heading back. He caught himself smiling, thinking how this dragon pearl must really mean a lot to the guy. If it didn't, the dude wouldn't be all over him to head back so fast. Figuring he should play it cool, he guessed the guy would let him hang around here for a bit, just so he doesn't seem too desperate. The dragon, totally zoned out in his own head, just nodded at the hero. He didn't really care either way, basically told him to handle his business first. Once the trial was over, then they could actually talk and work something out for real. After that, he just laughed it off and basically let everyone know he'd be back once he finished up. After a while, the story jumps to a new spot, and now the hero is pulled up somewhere different. The place in front of him looks nothing like before. It's actually a secret cave tucked away where nobody would expect. Checking it out, he gets hyped, realizing he just found a hidden spot. He wanted to check out the hidden cave, so he called up his skeleton warriors right away. The story jumps back to the Abyss world. Deep inside this huge dark palace, a wild roar breaks out. Someone's going off, rage just pouring out. The whole place shakes, and you can spot this scary figure surrounded by a green glow, barely holding it together. Standing in the middle of the huge hall was the Demon Emperor himself. His voice echoed everywhere, loud enough to make anyone freeze. He wanted to know who had the nerve to disrespect him, telling his people to hurry up and track down whoever ticked him off. He demanded to know if anyone had gone to Thunder Burial Canyon down in the lower realm recently. Every demon in the room dropped to their knees, shaking like crazy, too scared to even look up. The Demon Emperor was pissed, and his anger was all over the place. He started talking about Thunder Canyon, and just by the way he sounded, everyone knew he wasn't messing around. All the demons were down on their knees, barely holding it together like they knew one wrong move could end everything. The Dark Demon was there too, looking more scared than anyone, eyes locked on the floor. When he heard Thunder Canyon, his mind started spinning. He remembered his clone got wiped out there. Right then, he wondered if was behind it. The succubus queen stood off to the side, not saying anything, just watching everything with those sharp eyes, almost like she knew something was up. Out of nowhere, someone from the group of demons started to talk, voice shaky it was. As soon as the Demon Emperor heard that name, he completely lost it. His anger hit hard, making his power blast through the palace, and even the walls felt it. He was all in, sending the order out, track down no matter what it takes. Anyone who actually pulls it off gets a rare treasure, easy incentive for everyone to lock onto the mission. The whole place went dead quiet. Every demon just stopped, not believing what they were seeing. A law treasure showed up, something so rare and strong that even the top demon lords wanted it. The dark demon shot a quick look at the venom demon next to him. He didn't bother hiding how cold he felt toward him. It was like he was calling Venom out, almost challenging him about whether he actually cared about getting a law treasure or not. The venom demon just gave a small smirk, totally unbothered, and let everyone know that getting law treasures isn't something you just pull off. He wasn't about to get caught up in any fights. He'd way rather stay focused on his experiments with poisons. Stuff like killing and scrapping, yeah, he'd let someone else handle that. The focus snaps back to our guy deep inside the cave now. Electric blue crystals light up the whole place, sparking with lightning along the walls. As he steps forward, a notification pops up. He just picked up some electric essence, and now his electric resistance is up by 1% for good. The resin on him starts glowing under this wild UV light, making everything look kind of unreal. In the background, weird mechanical stuff and old switches are scattered around, like someone tried building something here ages ago. There's this towering structure up ahead, and the air feels charged, almost like it's daring him to keep moving. Whatever comes next, he knows he has to keep pushing forward and see what's waiting at the top. He grabbed one of the glowing crystals and just stared at it, a small smile showing up. His power was almost maxed out. He was already sitting at 90%. Using these electric essences, he knew he could level up his electric immunity all the way, but he couldn't help but wonder what kind of secrets might be waiting deeper in the cave. He didn't even pause, he just kept going. He walked for a bit and finally showed up at this huge palace. Seeing it just stopped him in his tracks, it was wild. He stared at the place, realizing it was actually the Thunder God's palace. He couldn't believe he was holding the key to get inside. Right outside the palace, there was this huge door totally locked up, and nobody could get through unless they had some unique key. Right in front of him, the key hovered in the air, turning slowly. He stretched out his hand, pulling it closer. As soon as it got near, a pop-up hit. He just scored the Thunder God's sword, the legendary blade linked to the God of Lightning, and the key needed to open up the Thunder God's palace. He stared down the huge door, holding onto the sword-shaped key like it was his last shot, then just sent it flying forward. As soon as it got to the gate, it just slid right into this tiny keyhole spot like it was made for it. The cave shook hard as a loud rumble took over. The huge door started rattling like it was about to break, then slowly dropped down. Light blasted out from inside, way too bright to look at. As soon as he turned it on in the palace, the whole place started shaking hard, like the building was about to fall apart. The massive gate shook hard and started to open, making a noise that echoed everywhere while lightning went off all around. When the doors finally swung wide, a wave of dust rolled out and the inside of the palace showed itself. But it looked nothing like a fancy royal place. Everything was wrecked and super old, with lightning running wild across the floor and walls. Smack in the center sat a coffin, and non-stop bolts of thunder and lightning kept pouring out of it, lighting up the whole room. When he saw the coffin, his whole vibe shifted, face going serious. He started thinking back to when the god of thunder got taken out by the king of those wild beasts. He wondered if this was the exact spot where it all went down. Staying on guard, he checked his surroundings and kept moving, ready for anything. He walked up to the coffin and spotted a body just lying there. It was wild. After all this time, the body hadn't rotted even a bit. Lightning literally ran across it, like the whole thing was still charged up. That's when it hit him. This was the god of thunder's corpse. He never thought the body would still look untouched after all those years. He kept watching and then spotted something weird on the thunder god's forehead, a symbol he hadn't noticed before. After checking it out, he realized that's probably where the electric grass is hidden. He didn't waste any time and pulled out the electric grass, the stuff that can wake up the thunder god. When he brought it close to the thunder god's body, the lightning around the corpse started going wild. The energy from the thunder god and the electric grass tangled together, sparks flying everywhere. Electricity started spinning in the air, getting stronger by the second. The electric grass just started breaking apart, getting wiped out as the thunder god's power kicked in. Out of nowhere, lightning shot out from the coffin again, way more intense this time. The second he saw it, our guy didn't hesitate. He stepped back fast, not trying to get caught up in whatever was about to happen. The thunder god's body started floating up, right in the middle of the palace. Lightning shot out everywhere, lighting up the whole place. Just watched, frozen, his heart pounding and eyes wide, not ready for what was happening. The thunder god's body started moving, its eyes opening up real slow. He froze, barely able to breathe. The thunder god was back. Right in front of him, the thunder god let loose wild lightning, turning the whole room into a chaotic storm. The place was just buzzing with electricity, everything getting lit up and blasted by the power. Lightning started going off way harder, way more intense and destructive than before. The whole palace in the cave got lit up with non-stop flashes, so bright it was impossible to miss. Out of nowhere, a glowing sword shot through the wild lightning straight into the palace, landing right in the thunder god's hand. With the sword in his hand, the thunder god took a moment, surprised to see his closest companion right before everything ended. He really didn't think he'd get that chance again and felt grateful, especially to the human kid standing there. He just stood there frozen, totally thrown off by what he saw. None of it made sense and his brain was struggling to keep up. His hands shook a little. He had no clue what was going on or if he was even awake right now. The thunder god stared him down, eyes lit up like actual lightning but stayed totally calm. He explained that what stood there was only a leftover piece of his soul, hanging out in the electric grass. The real him had already been gone since that huge battle way back. Using one of his special powers, he pulled up a live feed of everything happening outside. The whole spiritual world showed up right in front of him, clear as day. Scanning through it all, he could tell that people had made some serious progress lately. After that, he faced, and keeping it real, wanted to know if Antares was still around. When he heard the question, the hero just let everyone know that the old Earth Dragon is chilling somewhere up in the higher realms now. The Thunder God gave a small nod, pretty much saying he was cool with things. Knowing the guy was still around meant the world wasn't in danger, so he could finally chill. It was time for him to dip, leaving the young human behind. He knew he had to grind hard if he ever wanted to level up to a god. That was the only way anyone would take him seriously up there with the big shots. Then out of nowhere, the guy offered him a gift. While he was talking, his body started to glitch out, turning into pure electricity. By the time he finished, he was just gone, like he never existed. Lightning built up inside him and shaped itself into a sword. Then out of nowhere, a huge blast of lightning shot down from the sky. That bolt turned into a glowing sword, and when it broke apart, tons of energy streams wrapped all around. As soon as the lightning hit him, his screen started blowing up with notifications. Electricity immunity went up by 11%, then another 1%, and they just kept rolling in. His body kept soaking up all that Thunder God energy, pushing his lightning resistance way past what it was before. When it finally stopped, the last message popped up letting him know he had maxed out his lightning immunity for good. Now, lightning couldn't touch him anymore. Lightning started crackling all over Spotty, lighting him up like something out of a video game. As he noticed what was happening, it really hit him. He'd just become totally immune to lightning. No matter how wild the storm got or how much electricity was around, none of it could mess with him now. He just pulled off what everyone said was impossible, breaking through limits like it was nothing. It honestly felt like the god of thunder had just handed him a cheat code. Out of nowhere, lightning started wrapping around him, wild and intense, just like the old stories about the Thunder God. As this was happening, a new notification popped up in front of him. It said he'd unlocked medium-tier godhood. He could either absorb it and fully become a god or try to master its power and level up big time. He just got his hands on the Thunder God's own godhood, and if he merged with it, he'd step up as the new god of thunder. For a second, he felt like he was straight up made of lightning. His whole body was buzzing, light sparking everywhere. He realized right then, just like before with the god of venom, he'd picked up the god of thunder's power too. He checked out the electric crystal sitting in his hand. This thing wasn't just rare, it was straight up mythical level, loaded with some serious electric energy. He opened it up and just stared, not really believing what he was seeing. Those crystals, they actually had law power inside them. A real god is the only one who gets a say in the world of the divine. Maybe the gods are running some secret plan behind everyone's back. He knows he's nowhere near that level right now, but one day, he hopes he'll get the answers from Senior Antares. Out of nowhere, the whole cave started shaking hard. When he noticed what was happening, he realized the place was about to come down. Cracks shot across the walls and ceiling, and the whole cave started falling apart fast. Didn't waste a second, he sprinted, giving it everything he had, barely making it out while everything behind him just caved in. Lightning tore through the canyon and wiped everything out in seconds. When the thunder finally died down, rain started coming down just like back when the god of poison's body broke apart. Watched the rain pour and realized this had to be the same rain from the fallen god. It hit him then, Thunder Canyon really was where the god of thunder ended up. This rain, the rain of fallen gods, didn't care where you were, human world or any other realm, it always showed up. Right in the middle of all the chaos, the dragon showed up. He was just watching everything go down with the fallen gods. He didn't stick around for long, just disappeared after a bit. Honestly, nobody thought that kid would end up with the thunder god's sword, but it turned out alright. At least now, freedom's finally on the table. Over in the human world, the rain was coming down hard. Noticed it and paused, clearly surprised. He thought about how it had been 1,000 years without this kind of storm, usually that only happened when a god fell. Now, out of nowhere, it had happened twice, and he couldn't help but wonder what was going on. Now the story moves over to, he's sitting across from his teacher looking pretty serious. Got something on his mind, he's hoping his teacher can break down what's going on with. But his teacher is just sitting there, covered in shadows, face totally hidden. When brings it up, his teacher stays chill and reminds him that if he really wants a reading, he's gotta give up a drop of his own blood. His face suddenly gets serious. He stays cool and just tells the teacher that a little blood isn't a big deal. He really wants the teacher's help. Once the teacher finished the math, he let know his little brother was totally fine. Let out a breath he didn't even realize he was holding and just felt this wave of relief. Deep down, he was really grateful to the teacher. The story jumps back to our guy. He was making his way out of Thunder Canyon, not really expecting anything wild, when he suddenly picked up on something coming up from behind. Out of nowhere, this tablet covered in some crazy energy came flying straight at him. He spun around fast, totally caught off guard, and spotted this huge stone tablet barreling right at him. For a second he just stared, not even sure what he was looking at. His mind blanked, none of it made sense. He didn't even think, he just snapped out his skeleton wings, ready to bounce. But the second he tried, nothing happened. The area had that no-fly lockdown, so he was basically stuck on the ground. He started to stress a little, realizing the anti-flight rules were still in full effect. The massive stone tablet slammed into the ground, landing right next to him. He stared at it, totally stunned. This was the last thing he thought he'd find here. It was a primal rune just sitting there out of nowhere. As soon as it hit, the stone started drawing a circle on the ground, almost like it was setting something up. The rune on his hand lit up by itself, kicking in without him doing anything. He lifted his hand, pointing it straight at the ancient rune tablet, totally locked in on his target. Right then, red energy shot out from the tablet, blasting toward the group and wrapping around him. The power just took over his whole body, trapping him in the middle of it all. The second the primal runestone tablet dropped next to him, he didn't waste a second. He fired up this ritual setup he'd been holding on to. Right away, the mark on his hand started shining way brighter than before. When he saw that, he was hyped. Finding the primal rune tablet here was the last thing he expected. As soon as he lifted his hand to activate it, these wild symbols started showing up all around him, and a crazy energy built up in the air. Then, just like that, a beam of pure energy blasted straight up into the sky. The whole canyon lit up in this insane red energy, covering everything. Right where the hero stood, a strong red aura started building around him. As the power rushed through him, he realized something big. This was another primal source. It also hit him that for the next 10 days, every alien out there would have their eyes on him. He started cracking up, totally hyped. This time he wasn't waiting around for anyone to chase him. He was ready to hunt them down himself. Now it was his turn to go wild. Once he wrapped up what he needed to do, he headed straight for the top of the mountain. He swapped out his clothes fast and, not wasting any time, got his skeleton wings going. With that, he blasted out of the canyon, flying as fast as he could. He pushed ahead, his face getting more focused. In his mind, the plan was simple: head straight for the Dragon Clan. Those warlord-tier puppets they had, he was curious, wanted to see what they could do. Maybe they were even getting ready for full-on war. As he kept moving, though, his spot kept getting leaked, like someone was tracking his every step. The red light from the primal rune wrapped all around him, following every move he made. At the same time, the dragon warriors were pushing their huge warship through the area. One of them spotted the red glow, freaked out, and called it out to the rest, realizing it was a primal rune. Right after someone snatched the primal rune, he didn't waste a second. He told his whole army to go all out toward the spot where that red light shot up. As soon as the order dropped, the dragon battle fleet, with thousands of them ready to roll, charged forward together. Every single one was locked in on our hero's spot, shouting for the primal rune as they rushed in. Meanwhile, on the other side, our guy was still going hard, not slowing down at all. He'd been on the move for hours, but that red rune glow around him was still lit, lighting up everything around as he kept pushing forward. That light was so bright, nothing could miss it. Even the monsters and creatures way out in the distance saw it clear as day. Everyone out there knew exactly what that red beam meant, so they started heading straight for him, no hesitation. When he looked up and saw a massive wave of warships and dragon warriors coming at him, he just grinned, already ready for whatever was about to go down. Right now, almost all the dragons in front of him were spear fighters, just regular soldiers, but you could tell they weren't pushovers. Over half of them had already hit level 70. They held their ground, eyes locked on him, looking straight up, furious. When our hero saw just how many of them there were, he started to tense up. There had to be hundreds of warships out there, and every single one looked fully loaded with squads. He realized that meant almost 100,000 puppets ready to go. He couldn't help but wonder where the dragon clan even got all that stuff. Right after he said those words, our guy stepped up and faced all the dragon warriors head on. As soon as they got a good look at him, one of them clocked who he was right away and started yelling his name. It was. He pointed right at him and called everyone's attention, making it clear who they were after. Everyone knew now this was the guy who took out a bunch of their people. The order from the Dragon King was clear: if you see him, take him out right away. And on top of that, he was carrying the primal rune, which everyone wanted to get their hands on. Right after he said that, every dragon battleship started getting ready to fire their cannons. All the warships nearby started pulling in thunder energy from everywhere, getting ready to blast off at the same time. The sky lit up with crazy flashes of lightning as they built up power. When he saw what was happening, his whole vibe switched, face cold, eyes locked in. He totally got what was up. The other guy was trying to pull in all that lightning from the canyon and use it against him. Honestly, it checked out. He smirked, looking totally ready for whatever was coming next. The leader of the dragon fleet totally lost it and told everyone to blast their weapons and take him out fast. As soon as he gave the order, all the warships started firing their cannons at once. Energy blasts flew straight at the hero, coming in fast and not letting up. Attacks came flying at him from all sides, closing in fast. Everything hit at once, setting off a huge blast. But right as the hits landed, notifications started popping up everywhere. Electric element immunity showed up first. With every new hit, more notifications kept showing up around him. He took hit after hit, just standing there in the chaos, not even flinching. Dude actually smiled like he knew nothing could touch him, even laughed a little, totally unfazed, like all of this was nothing. The dragon warriors just watched, frozen, as all their big attacks landed and did literally nothing. They just stared, not believing what they were seeing. Even with all those warships blasting away at the same time, no one should be able to stand there like it's nothing, not even some top-tier legend. Yet this guy looked untouched. He suddenly paused, like something just clicked in his head. It looked like he was thinking about whether the guy was actually immune to electric stuff. After a second, his whole expression changed. He looked way more serious, and then he called out for everyone to start attacking. As soon as the command dropped, every dragon warrior launched off their ships, energy pumping through them. They sprinted straight at the hero, not holding back, ditching their long-range moves and going all in with close-up attacks. When he saw everyone rushing at him together, he couldn't help but grin. The hype was real. He started laughing, ready for what was coming next. He knew it was time for his crew to step up. Right after he spoke, he brought out all his skeleton warriors onto the field. As soon as they showed up, the Lick General wasted no time boosting every single skeleton with a bunch of buffs. There were skeleton warriors lined up on one side, and right across from them, a huge crowd of dragon warriors. Both squads were stacked, ready to go at it. Soldiers packed the whole battlefield like there was no way out. The hero glanced around, kind of amused, thinking this crowd might just be his chance to rack up some more XP. He got serious real quick, lifting his hand as his soldier power kicked in. Everyone could tell he wasn't messing around. He made it clear that if they wanted the primal rune so bad, they'd get to see what it could really do. As soon as he used the ability, every skeleton warrior got powered up instantly. Their eyes started glowing wild and they just went full savage, locking straight onto their targets. Without wasting a second, a bunch of them rushed into attack. The dragon warriors from the other side didn't waste any time. They rushed straight in, ready to clash with the squad coming at them. A dragon warrior sprinted toward the skeletons, moving crazy fast. Just as he was about to break through, out of nowhere, a glowing arrow zipped in and nailed him right in the forehead. Right when the arrow landed, he blacked out and hit the ground hard. While he was down, a skeleton warrior made a move and sprinted over. He grabbed the dragon warrior by the leg, swung him in a wide circle, and launched him right into the squad of dragon warriors charging over. He raised his hand, a small laugh slipping out. Fireworks hadn't really been his thing for a while, but tonight felt different. He was actually down for some chaos. He lifted his hand a little higher, then went all in and triggered his corpse explosion skill. Right then, the dragon warrior's body dropped straight into the center of their squad. Out of nowhere, it blew up huge, sending out this wild blast that tore through everything nearby. The explosion ripped right through the enemy lines, but he just kept pushing forward. The skeleton warriors were on a roll, knocking out a bunch more dragon warriors. They didn't waste time, just grabbed the bodies and tossed them right at the enemy squad. He kept blowing up those bodies, setting off a wild chain reaction. The explosions just ripped through tons of dragon warriors and even took out a bunch of their huge warships. The explosions hit so hard that a bunch of dragon ships got wrecked right away. Some of the dragon warriors still stuck on those ships started freaking out and scrambling to turn on their shields before it was too late. Right away, every ship turned on its energy shield, lighting up with these bright glowing layers. Inside the glowing barriers, the dragon warriors glanced up at the sky, nervous about whether these shields could actually handle what was coming. Before anyone could chill out, tiny cracks started popping up all over the shields. At first it was barely anything, but then they spread fast. The warriors saw what was happening and instantly freaked out. Everyone started scrambling to get out of there, all thinking about saving the ships before anything else. A few seconds later, the battleship's shields just broke apart, and then a bunch of explosions went off one after another, shaking everything. The battlefield was straight up wrecked, smoke everywhere, debris flying and dust hanging in the air. The dragon fleet, which used to look unstoppable, was falling apart fast against the insane power of the primal rune and its undead crew. The dragon warrior tried to dodge the hero's wild corpse explosion move by throwing up a shield around his warship. But with all those heavy blasts going off, the shield didn't last long at all. It shattered quick, and the battleships started getting wrecked one by one in the chaos. The last battleships tried to dip out of the blast zone as fast as they could, but the explosions were nuts. Every time one ship went up, the ones close by just got dragged in and started blowing up too. It was like a chain reaction, nobody was getting out clean. Because of that, even the shields on the ships trying to dip out just fell apart, and those ships got wrecked one by one. The chaos didn't let up, explosions kept going off, and battleships were getting blown up nonstop. He watched the wild scene unfold. Honestly, it was kind of scary but also crazy cool. Even with everything going on, he couldn't help but smile to himself. Deep down, he thought this was one of those moments that just hit different. Over on the other side, the guy in charge of the dragon warriors, the big boss, just saw what went down and it totally threw him off. He was trying to process how things went south so fast. Then someone from the back gave him the update. In under a minute, they'd already lost over 200 warships and more than 4,000 of their fighters were gone. Once he heard the news, the dragon leader didn't waste a second. He told everyone to fall back right away. Just get out of there fast, no excuses. The last warships that hadn't been caught in the blast didn't stick around. As soon as they saw what happened, they spun their ships around and bolted, doing everything they could to get out of his view. As the enemies took off, he got this focused look, almost like he was planning his next move. He needed them to head back to their base because that was the only way he'd figure out how they were cranking out all those battle puppets. He picked up the pace, locked in on his goal. The Dragon clan couldn't just keep getting stronger. He knew if they started making puppets above level 80 one day, things would get real for everyone. Humanity would have a serious problem on its hands. He spent a whole hour just locked in, chasing after those battleships without letting up. After all that, he finally rolled up to the Dragon station. The place was massive, packed with battleships everywhere. Right in the middle was this huge fortress, and even more Dragon warships were guarding it. When he saw what was going on, his whole vibe changed. He realized the Dragon clan had actually built a flying fortress right there. It was wild, so much effort and gear went into making that place. He started thinking hard, trying to figure out what huge secret they were trying to keep hidden. Out of nowhere, somebody shot out of the fortress, moving way faster than anyone expected, and zeroed right in on our hero. As he watched the guy walk up, our hero noticed the dragon horns and realized those had to mean a regression bloodline. It was pretty clear this dude was running the whole fortress. The dragon leader pulled up right in front of him, looking all confident. He had this smug look, almost like he couldn't believe actually showed up to chase them down. After hearing that, our hero's eyes went serious. He didn't waste time talking, just made it clear things were done between humans and the Dragon clan. At this point, they both knew there was no chance of living together. The only thing left was to throw down. When he said that, the dragon boss totally lost it, yelling at his squad to go after. Right away, the whole place lit up with shields stacking on top of each other. The fortress got locked down inside this giant energy dome, and every battleship nearby threw up their own shields too. Next thing, both the fortress and the ship started blasting with a ton of cannons all at once. Energy beams just kept firing at him non-stop. As he watched all those attacks coming in, his expression got serious. These weren't just any opponents, these were real dragon warriors. He looked around and saw a bunch of battleships closing in, and then the fortress started blasting him with lasers like it was nothing. He didn't even pause, just grabbed his scythe and started spinning it, totally locked in. He was ready for a real fight and called out the poisonous thunder god beast, looking serious and not messing around. He called out, letting the soul of the poisonous thunder beast loose from his scythe. As soon as it showed up, he hit it with a blast of spiritual energy, powering it up right away. He called up every skeleton warrior he had, and out of nowhere thousands of them showed up behind him. It looked like a never-ending army, all lined up and ready to go. Right after that, he pulled the poison god's blood essence out of his stash. As soon as it showed up, the energy it gave off was insane, like everything in the room just leveled up. Green lightning started blasting off him, lighting up the whole place. The dragon boss froze up, his face showing straight-up terror. He started shaking, realizing this wasn't normal power, this was something on a whole other level, like a god just showed up. The dragon leader had no idea what he was even looking at. The hero let the poison blood essence out, letting it loose across the whole battlefield. Green toxic mist started pouring from his hands, and in no time it was everywhere. The dragon leader saw what was happening and clenched his jaw, clearly annoyed. He knew the poison was powerful, but he wasn't worried at all. Warships and fortresses were a whole different level, and poison wasn't going to do anything to them. The hero smirked, clearly not surprised that he'd been noticed. Without wasting time, he aimed his scythe straight ahead and called out his poisonous thunder beast to move in. The poisonous thunder beast charged straight at the fortress, tearing through the thick clouds of toxic gas without slowing down. It got close and opened its jaws super wide, pulling in some crazy energy like it was about to drop a massive poison attack. While it was charging up, the whole battlefield started shaking hard and lightning flashed everywhere. The air was thick with this wild toxic power, and you could just feel something big was about to go down. The beast's whole body lit up with this wild green lightning, charging up for its go-to move, venomous thunder annihilation. Poison and thunder leaked off it, the kind of stuff that could take you out in a second. Before it even let loose, a heavy pressure already spread everywhere, making the air feel crazy tense. The dragon leader's face got serious real quick. He could tell things were about to go sideways. He tried to call it off, yelling for everyone to stop, but by then it was already out of his hands. The poisonous thunder beast let loose, and suddenly a massive wave of toxic lightning shot out, tearing across the battlefield like a wild storm. The poison moved fast, tearing through the dragon warriors like it was nothing. In just a few seconds, their scales and skin were gone, and all that was left were bones. The whole thing was wild to see. These guys went from full-on warriors to skeletons in no time. The explosion hit so hard that a bunch of warships couldn't even hold up. Their shields just broke apart. Tons of dragon warriors inside didn't even stand a chance. They were gone in seconds. The dragon leader watched as his troops went down one after another, looking totally rattled. He freaked out and tried to get everyone to bail before things got any worse. When he gave the order, the last few dragon warriors tried to run for it, but the poisonous blast was way too quick, just tearing through everything around them. The chaos kept going for what felt like forever until finally. As the toxic mist started to clear, barely any warships were left circling the fortress, and almost none of the dragon warriors made it through. There was still a heavy cloud of toxic gas hanging around the fortress, and out of nowhere the whole place just blew up. The building collapsed and got wiped out in one huge blast. While the fortress fell apart and turned to rubble, this heavy dark energy started building up all around. Out of nowhere, a portal just popped open in the middle of the shadows. The second he saw it, his eyes went wide. Now it all made sense. The spot everyone kept guarding was actually some hidden realm. The dragon leader spotted the secret realm showing up and instantly lost it. He ordered everyone to ditch their warships and go after, no matter what it took. Protecting the secret realm was the only thing that mattered. There was no way he'd let humans get their hands on it. The hero just grinned, looking way too confident. He knew nobody could stop him now. From that point on, he was calling the shots in this secret realm. That's a wrap for this chapter. There's definitely more wild stuff coming up, so stay tuned for the next episode. Drop your score for this chapter out of 15 down in the comments and let everyone know what you think's gonna happen next. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe. See you in the next one.